guys, welcome to another episode of the Just Casual Vlogs. Today is April 21st. It's a Friday, beautiful Friday. I'm going to be talking about the latest DailyVee 210 about basically the quote, "Nobody cares where you came from." So I was thinking about this because, a lot of people think that they've come from, that their background or their situation is a hindrance to what they're trying to achieve, right? Like, oh, this person is so lucky because they have a ton of money from their parents, or this person, oh, it's super unfortunate that they grew up in this neighborhood, those kind of things, right? And there's a lot of excuses out there, and the thing is, like Gary talks about how it is totally true that some people are less fortunate than others, and therefore, it's going to be easier for some than others. And I was kind of thinking about this and how it relates to content creators, right? You look at all these people that are producing content, and they're like, oh, you got so lucky, or oh, like you suck, like how did you're just lucky that you ran into this opportunity, blah 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 blah, right? Or people don't know, like, oh, how do you have 1 million subscribers, blah blah blah. And then people don't realize what their stories are behind them. It's not talked about a lot, right? People get big eventually through a lot of hard work, and this is something that I've definitely talked about a lot. And it's interesting because, people don't know the stories behind, and people don't care. And when they say they don't care, I think there's a big asterisk on that. So I kind of disagree with what Gary's saying, but at the same time, I agree with the point that he's making. But people don't care where you come from. The market doesn't suddenly, when you're talking about entrepreneurship, the market doesn't suddenly like, oh, because you started off with nothing and this person started off with $1 million, we care more about your product. Like, no, that doesn't happen, right? The market doesn't know your story and doesn't care. And therefore, like, it doesn't matter where you come from, it just matters about the results that you have. And that's what's determined, like, that shows your success. But at the same time, it's interesting because I love storytelling. I love hearing the stories behind people. And I talked about the podcast that I want to start, about finding the stories behind someone's success and like where they came from and how they got to where they are, because I think it's severely overlooked. But when you tell those stories and when people are able to relate to those stories, I think that suddenly becomes a positive thing for your brand, unless you have like some really crappy story or no one cares about your story. But even if people don't care about your story, the only thing it can do, I think, is really help, right? Unless you have some like really messed up past where you're like, people just can't get over like mistakes that you made, or like decisions that you made, or moral decisions, something like that. So I was thinking, like, like people don't know these stories and they need to hear these stories, and when they hear these stories, suddenly you become more relatable. You're more than just a product, or you're more than just a face or a workhorse or a piece of content. You are something more relatable, right? So if I think about it in the sense that if you have competing content creators, right? You have 3 cosplayers, and they're like, oh, she's so hot, I follow her. Or like, oh, she does really good stuff, I follow her. Or he does like, I really like the niche that he does because he only does League of Legends content. That's why you follow them, right? But then the cool thing about now, especially the League of Legends community, I think people know a lot of those stories. And Twitch and streamers and YouTube and vlogs, they get to show the stories and the personalities. And suddenly when you have that story or personality behind you, especially that story, especially if you came from, like, if you have a crazy story, like, I had like an abusive father and my mom was a cokehead, and then, but because of that I struggled hard and I created this product because it's gonna help the world and help kids from abusive and difficult childhood. People are like, wow, like this is amazing. And it builds more trust too. It can build more trust, right? It depends on your story. And I thought that was really interesting, and that's kind of a lot of what I want to show. And I was like, oh, this is so relatable to what I'm trying to do. which is giving me a little more to like finally make that first step to make it happen. It's not going to happen yet because there was some higher priority things, but it's sitting there, sitting in the back of my mind, and I have to find the time, and it'll probably happen, yeah, maybe start of the summer. There's a lot of things that are going on right now. I can't wait to talk about some things that happened today. I had a nice phone call, which was, I can't talk about right now, but hopefully I will soon. That was causing me a lot of stress and anxiety and excitement, and I feel kind of meh right now after the phone call. But we'll see. Opportunities are looming, and yeah, hopefully we get something. I can talk to you, give good news to you guys sooner rather than later about that phone call. A few things that I'm working on. So, let's see. Yeah, I really want to find those stories. I thought maybe, I've told my story about Lola a little bit. I don't know if I have any crazy story to tell for what I've been doing. I think if we talk 2 years from now, if I've done something really, really incredible or cool, I might have a good story to tell, right? Who knows if this ends up being like a 20-year journey and I made it into something bigger after 20 years, like that might be even a cooler story to tell because I'll have a lot more struggles because this journey is pretty new to me still. Like I was doing Lola for 3 years, but it wasn't until maybe a year where I really started pushing Lola hard and seeing what I can make of it. At least making like significant strides. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I don't really think I have anything else to say. It's a short vlog today. So yeah, we'll just keep it short instead of dragging it on long. Like, comment, subscribe. Please let me know. Let me know when it comes to the esports scene or League of Legends scene. Who has a really cool story? Like for example, there's Double Lift, who had the story where he got kicked out and disowned by his parents, and now he's like, he at one point probably was the best AD carry in the world or his top 3. Now that's probably very debatable, but we'll see what happens when he comes back into the league scene this next split, if he finds a team. Most likely TSM, but if he finds a team. Yeah. Who do you think has a really cool story? Maybe they could be a guest on my future podcast. Let me know. Peace. Again, thanks for subscribing and watching.